Let me introduce you to our presenters for today. So Jackie Zhu is our Principal CPQ Strategist here at Simplus. I have to say he's one of the leading CPQ architects in the world and is so knowledgeable, which you'll see as he walks you through a demo today. He's also got experience for over 25 years in this space, so he's seen a lot of businesses, big and small, go through big transformations, whether it be with Salesforce or other legacy technologies.
Thank you, Libby.
We've also got Phil with us here today. He's an architect and senior developer with Simplus. He's been in the Salesforce world for 10 years. He's been in the IT world for 20 years and has also seen a wide range of businesses try and go on a transformation journey and do great things for their business with IT. So over to you, Phil, to kick us off with an overview of CPQ.
Thanks, Libby. Great intro. Thank you for that. And yeah, one thing I wanted to add is sort of in my time in this industry, I've seen a lot of businesses, a lot of end users that I've represented with, very old and set in stone quoting and billing systems. So I think a lot of what we're going to speak today is to some of the pain points that you experience there and where CPQ can come in. So today is all about, what is CPQ and billing and what can it do for your business? For anybody that doesn't know, the letters CPQ are configure, price, quote. And so the CPQ side of things is really all about, supporting your sales process when it comes to deliver accurate quotes quickly, generating the right prices and delivering the right orders and bills from that sales process. So that's what we're going to step through a bit today. And I think part of the context of today is not just the recent technological challenges that all businesses face, keeping up to date with technology and staying competitive, but the current global situation that we find ourselves in and how that's really exposed some of the limitations in the technology that we currently use. As businesses move to work from home models, it puts a lot of strain on some of the older systems that aren't well adapted to that style of working. When it comes to your quoting processes, having difficulty collaborating remotely on quotes, looking at the same engagement with the customer from multiple different places, difficulty in maintaining accurate order management when you're not all on one site, and particularly, where the customer needs support either from a sales or a customer service inquiry, being able to address that and work as a team, one team, even when you're not under one roof. So this is exacerbated once we start realizing that some of these new ways of working might be long-term. We're starting to realize that this whole new normal, as we call it, may be something that we're going to be doing for quite a while. And so as we do that, things that were tolerable short-term, data that's not being collected to inform future strategic decisions, long-term, that becomes a major problem. So we're going to be stepping through that a little bit today. And I guess what we see here is, an opportunity to bring in, a consolidated system or set of systems that allows, teams in different locations to collaborate, to get support from each other directly, and to support the customer, looking at the same information supported by the same process. And that's what CPQ and billing is. So let's move on to some of the typical problems that we see when we engage with clients, some of the challenges that they face, and how CPQ meets those. So quotes and orders having errors, this is, obviously one of the biggest problems, when you're running a sales process is at best, an incorrect quote will result in an unhappy customer when you have to deliver the bad news that you didn't quite have the price right the first time. And at worst, this is a quote that's accepted and which you then have to remedy and reconcile when it comes to invoicing and billing. So some of the causes of errors can be, complex product configurations that are difficult for salespeople to get right when the system's not supporting them properly on it. Complex pricing rules, which are also difficult to adhere to. And, there's a lot of opportunity there for a system to really guide your sales reps in adhering to the right process there. Quotes taking too long to generate. One really important fact is that more than 80% of business goes to the first person to give a quote. Speed to generate your quote is absolutely fundamental. And the key there is generating an accurate quote. If there's any situation where you have to readdress it or issue a second quote correcting it, that gives your competitors a foot in the door. And some of the things that can slow down quote generation are manual application of prices, from complex price books, complex product configurations, having large quote sizes. We see a lot of businesses that have quotes with 500 or 1,000 lines. All these things can slow down and increase the risk that the quote is not actually accurate. Lost revenue. This is where we talk about revenue lost through discounting errors. A big one is renewal opportunities. If you're selling subscription products or you have a quote that's a contract that's coming up for renewal and nobody's there or alerted to that fact, that's money, that's revenue that's there for you to lose, and it is frequently lost through not having a system support that. And then finally, revenue recognition compliance, and this is really just about avoiding that painful backlog of revenue recognition work, and when you do face it, being faced with data that's incomplete and inaccurate. All right, Jackie, can you tell us a little bit about why technology is mission critical?
Sure. There's a research about technology and purchase decision making. 70% of the consumers and 82% of the companies, they believe that technology make it easier to take the business elsewhere, which is true. So what can we do? I think using the technology wisely and make it work for you would probably be the best choice. So I believe CPQ and billing should be a core part of your technology stack, because from quote all the way to invoicing, it touches your customer. With CPQ and billing, you can actually produce a quote quicker with correct product, correct configuration, and correct pricing. And you can actually produce a quote. You can also have the price accurately and also produce the invoice accurately as well. So it improves the customer experience. With a better customer experience, you can actually turn this into a differentiator and bring a competitive advantage to your business.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackie. All right. So there's a lot on this slide, and I want to get to what everybody's here for, which is really seeing CPQ as it works in the demo. So I'll just touch on a couple of things here. The real important point to drive home is that CPQ, if you're considering moving into a CPQ implementation, it really goes to the heart of your business, and it goes to the heart of some very important roles in your business. So a really important part of starting that journey is engaging these people right from the start and making sure their voice is heard and understanding that things from their point of view. When we think about your sales reps and sales management, their number one priority here is closing sales, and we don't want anything to get in the way of that. We want them to be supported by accurate product and pricing, accurate information about the customer. Some key things that CPQ can offer there are features like guided selling, which allows a sales rep to navigate a large product book and arrive at the right products through a bit of a wizard approach. Concepts like product bundles, where if you have large quote sizes and hundreds of quote lines, that can be simplified into a product with a bundle of components or options against it, and it really simplifies bringing those things onto a quote. And then even features like AI-driven price guidance, which is something recently introduced with Salesforce Einstein. The example here is that if you're a sales rep and you've given a 10% discount to a customer, you'll get a prompt driven by AI advising you that you're 65% more likely to win this deal if you increase that discount to 11%. So just sort of an example of what you could see there. When we look at sales operations and administration, these are the guys that would be, configuring and supporting the CPQ process as your business evolves. And the key for them is they've got enormously powerful tools at their fingertips with CPQ, and particularly that it's all configuration. There's no code, no development needed, no big rollout projects to introduce new sales process. It's simply, updating tables and configuring rules like product rules for automatically bringing products onto the quote in the right criteria. Same thing for price rules when it comes to calculating particular price based on certain situations. When we think about sales channel sales rep, if you have a channel partner aspect to your business, this is really all about the field selling that happens there. and the fact that they're often between a rock and a hard place when it comes to bad technology and how to complete a sales process through that. So one of the key things CPQ offers there is CPQ for Partner Community, which basically gives your channel sales reps the exact same experience that your internal salespeople face. Legal counsel, some key features to call out there are supporting contract redlining, so tracking negotiations on contracts and having clear visibility of what the latest version of a contract is through negotiations. And we can talk a little bit about advanced approvals, which is beneficial to both legal counsel and finance managers, the last role that we talk about here, where based on particular criteria on the quote, either a specific legal term or condition present on the quote that can raise a specific approval process to your legal counsel, or in the case of a special payment term that you might offer to a valuable customer, that can get raised to your finance manager for approval. And I guess the last thing to say is that if you bring all these roles together, you can think of one system that covers your quote, your order, your billing process, one source of truth, everybody looking at the same information, supported by the same process, and able to collaborate and support each other directly on that platform. And that's what CPQ and billing is. So I might hand over to Jackie again to take us through this quote to cash framework, which is very fancy looking, and into the demo.
Excellent. Thank you, Phil. So on the screen, we have the quote to cash framework. On the left-hand side is the quoting process, and the right-hand side is the billing process. I think instead of going through the steps in the diagram, it's probably better to show you the demo. So let's probably just jump straight in. So before I kick off creating the new quote, we are starting from an opportunity. If you're using Salesforce already, you should be very familiar with opportunities. So you can use the standard opportunity management in Sales Cloud to create opportunity, or you can convert a lead into opportunity. So once you have an opportunity, so for example, I have an opportunity created already for my favorite customer, Big T Burger and Fries. Now I'm going to create a quote for them. They want to buy some technology. So on the quote, you can see a few fields here. I just want to call out that because I'm going to include some subscription products, so start date and also the subscription term will be important, as well as the primary contact, because we want to send out a quote document to the contact. So now we have a quote. And the next step is to add some products to the quote. So I'm going to go into the quote line editor. This is where the CPQ operates most of the time. So I'm going to add some products. I know that the company is going to, my customer is going to buy some laptops, and they're interested in the 15-inch ones. The search of the product is quite straightforward. It's just like using Google to search the product. So once I select the laptop, I go into the configuration mode. I can only select the CPUs, the memory, and the storage that are compatible to this model of the laptop. Okay, and I'm going to change the quantity. I'm going to sell 10 laptops to my customer. And the next product I want to add is some iCloud storage, which is a subscription product. And we sell them by licenses. I'm going to add 50 licenses. Okay, one thing I want to point out is the pricing for this particular product. We have a discount schedule. Discount schedule is actually applying a discount on the volume. So the more the customer buys, the better discount they will get. In this example, they purchase 50, so the discount is actually 20%. It's also one part of the system discounting. The last part I'm going to add is the best-selling product. It's the AI transaction subscription. And I know my customer is interested in subscribing and using some AI functionality. So now I have a quote, which is pretty much ready. But I want to apply some discounts because it's a competitive world. It seems that the video is going a little bit haywire. Okay, sorry. Okay, so
Jackie, why don't you just try and take the video to the next location that you're trying to explain? I'll leave it to you to
sure.
Folks, technical difficulties.
Yeah, so next step I want to go through is actually the discounting. So say if I want to apply a 5% discount, it's okay. We don't need approval. But if I add it to 15%, now I have a manager approval required. If I have another product that I want to discount for, say, 40%, now I need the director of sales to approve. For the last product, I just want to have a look at the historic pricing because I know that the price can fluctuate. And in this case, I can see that the price actually dropping all the way until June and then going back up. So it seems that we're in a good place and we don't need to discount. So this is how we use the historic data to drive the pricing decision. Now I'm going to save the quote. And besides the products and the pricing, we also have other things that we need to consider. For example, the legal terms, the contract payment terms, and so on. So there are a lot of information on the quote. So let's say that the customer is opening a new business in New York. So we need to change the governing law to New York State. And then the payment term, I want to give a better term for the customer. So make it into a net 90 instead of the standard net 30. So obviously they have impact to the finance and also to the legal team. So now I have the quote there and happy to get it approved. So let me see who will need to approve my quote. This is a feature called Advanced Approval, and it's coming with CPQ. So on the screen, you can see there's 3 streams of approval. We need the legal team to approve, the finance, and also the sales team, and the 2 steps in the discounting approval. Because we are doing a demo, I'm not going to send out the emails for approval. So what I'm going to do is I'll change the approval status to approve, because I'm also an admin of the system, not just a salesperson.
Too much power.
Okay, so next step, I'm going to generate the document because I got the approval and I'm happy to generate a document and send it to my customer. Okay, apologies for the little pop-up box because I'm using a free screen recording tool. So let's go to the next step. I'm going to change the template because I have subscription product and one-time product in the quote. So let's have a look at the document. This is the out-of-box CPQ quote generator. We can also use Conga technology to generate the quote document as well. So either way, we produce professionally looking quote documents. I didn't fast forward, so that's why we have to wait a few seconds to see the quote. So you can see that the quote document, we can have the front page, the cover letter, and followed by the actual products, including the quote. And I separate them into 2 sections. One is the hardware product, the other is the subscriptions. Okay, so this is the quote. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the opportunity, and then I'm going to generate the order. So let's have another look at the quote. It has everything that we need, all the key metrics data, the terms, and so on. And we can go back and close the opportunity. So I'll make the opportunity into close one. And behind the scene, Salesforce CPQ will actually generate the contract as well as the order for me. So the order takes a bit more time, and I need to refresh it. Maybe I can just probably jump a little bit forward so we can see the order itself. Just for the interest of time, I think we are running short of time. Just want to allow a couple minutes for the Q&A.
We'll send out a link just on the room chat for a Zoom session that we'll set up straight after this, because we're getting quite a lot of questions coming through and we'd love to be able to answer them. So Jackie and Phil will jump into that after this demo.
Yeah, this is actually a recording, so I can actually show you the actual page when we have the Q&A session. So you can see that the order products are all created in here. And then now I'm working as part of the finance team. I'm going to activate the order and then start the invoicing process. So typically we use the invoice batches and schedule. But now I'm going to just create an ad hoc invoice using the bill now function, which is part of Salesforce billing. And you can see that there is an invoice already created. And let's have a look at the invoice lines. Because we have the hardware product and the subscription. So on the invoice line, you can actually see that the hardware is actually billed in full, but for the subscription product, because they are set as monthly charge, so we only charge for the first month. So that's the first invoice from this order. And let's have a look at the actual invoice document. So we have all the products listed nicely. It can be customized to your need. So the last thing I want to show is actually the revenue recognition. Let's have a look at the AI transactions product. Because this is a subscription product, so revenue recognition is supposed to be spread out throughout the contract term. So in this case, we can see that the revenue is recognized on a monthly basis, and we have the deferred revenue starting all the way up here, and it's decreasing because we're recognizing revenue every month. And then the total recognized revenue is actually going up month after month. So at the last month, we have all the revenue recognized. That's a way from the demo. Over to you, Phil.
Thanks, Jackie. That was fantastic. Let's see if we can get the slide deck back on. There's just one last little slide to run through. Thanks for that. Great. Yeah, we saw a lot there, and I think one of the biggest takeaways is all of that was one system. So all the data from the point of first engaging with the customer, putting the quote together, issuing a quote, provisioning order once they accept, and then starting your billing process, all one system. And I think you can imagine the opportunities that gives you in terms of the data that you get and, seamless customer experience. So the last thing we want to cover off here is just reiterating that engaging your key stakeholders is key here, particularly your sales and your financial teams. If you're looking for a move into CPQ and billing, getting them involved right from the start and enabling them is fundamental to success. So we've got some materials that we can share. There's already a couple of links that we've shared in chat, and there's some video case studies that we can share as well to inform these people. But besides that, I think we've covered everything off. We should have a Zoom link to share in the chat now, where we can move everybody that wants to ask some questions about CPQ into that. And that's it. Thank you, everybody, for your time.